Many film sets across the world do night work. With CrewCall, you can create your own night loadings to ensure your night penalties are correctly calculated. From the home screen, access the side menu and select Calculations. For this deep dive, we'll be focused on night loadings, but it is worth noting that you can also create your own overtime calculations. Tap Night Loadings to show a list of night loading calculations currently available. CrewCall ships with a few preset options, such as the IAT SE night loading for the US, or specific night loadings for Melbourne and Sydney in Australia. The top section shows the default night loading. Whenever you create a new job, this is the night loading that will be set for that job. You can tweak this default by tapping and selecting a new night loading from the list. If you need to alter the night loading for a specific job, go to the job list, tap and hold on a job and select Edit Job. Use the toggle in the top right to access job settings and change the night loading as you see fit. Changes in job settings will only affect that job. To create your own night loading, tap the Add button in the top right of the night loading list. Start by giving your night loading a name and selecting the country that it's intended for. This box gives a clear description detailing the specifics of the night loading you are currently creating. As you tweak settings below, it will update. We'll set our night loading to start at 10 PM and finish at 6 AM. We'll leave continues until wrap off for the moment. Next, we need to decide how to charge our night penalty. This can either be percentage based or a fixed rate. Both options have a number of parameters that can be used for customization. The night penalty might be 25% on top of your normal rate. If we set this up, the description tells you that a 25% loading will be billed on top of your normal rate between 10 PM and 6 AM. So if you are still in single time at 10 PM, you will bill for single time plus the 25% loading. If you are in double time at 1 AM, you will bill for double time plus the 25% loading. This is how the default Sydney night loading works. By toggling inclusive of rate to on, the night penalty will factor in your current hourly rate when making the calculation. I'll set the loading to 200%. This means that any work between 10 PM and 6 AM will be charged at double time. If I am normally getting paid single time between 10 PM and 6 AM, the night loading will add 1.0 times to make that double time. If I'm getting paid time and a half between 10 PM and 6 AM, the night loading will only add 0.5 times to make that double time. If my overtime calculation dictates that I'm already on double time due to the length of my work day, the night loading won't add on any penalty as the 2.0 times is inclusive of my normal rate. This is how the default Melbourne night loading works. Some countries charge night penalties at a fixed rate. In this instance, we'd change percentage based to fixed rate. By default, fixed rates are calculated hourly. Type 50 into the loading section and you'll see that we will now charge $50 an hour when working between 10 PM and 6 AM. This is also detailed here for an explicit explanation. If you just charge a flat night loading fee, then you can set the fixed rate to be daily. I'll set it to 200 and now you can see it will charge $200 if any work occurs between 10 PM and 6 AM. So if I wrap at 11 PM, that is within the night loading range and means a $200 penalty will be charged. If I work all through the night, wrapping at 7 AM, I've now done 6 hours within the night loading range. In this case, the penalty will still be $200 as it's a flat daily fee. If continues until wrap is toggled on, this means for any hours worked after 6 AM, a night loading will still be charged. Essentially, the night loading stays in effect until you wrap. If continues until wrap is toggled off, once 6 AM ticks over, the night loading will no longer be charged even if you are still working. Just your normal hourly rate will be billed for this time. I'll tap Add and the new night loading will be added to our list. I can tap it to make changes, or I can set it as my new default. When logging a workday, Night loadings will be calculated in real time as you change your times. If my call time is before 6 a.m, the night loading indicator will become highlighted. I can tap it for more information. I clocked on at 4:30 a.m, so it tells me that the night loading is applicable for 1.5 hours between 4:30 a.m and 6 a.m, and that the night penalty charged will be as follows. If I log a full night shoot, clocking on at 9 p.m and wrapping at 8 a.m, the night loading calculation will figure that out too. It even factors in meal breaks, so you aren't charging night penalties during non-company time. When using a flat rate night loading, the details will be very clear. It states that we are charging $50 an hour as a night penalty. We worked 7.5 hours during the night loading period, thus our penalty will be $375. If I go back to the night loading and change it to continues until wrap, all jobs that use this night loading will be updated. Revisiting that same test job, I can see that now it charges 9.5 hours of night loading, coming in at $475. This is because I clocked off at 8 a.m and had worked through the night. Thus 6 a.m to 8 a.m are applicable for night loading, charging the same $50 an hour. I hope all of that makes sense. I encourage you to dive in, make some night loadings, create test jobs, and play around to explore how they work. Don't worry about making a mess. Test jobs can be deleted, as can night loadings that you create. I hope you found this deep dive helpful. If you have any questions or feedback, please don't hesitate to touch base. Thanks.